All right, welcome this morning, everyone. I don't want your energy to shift in any way different from when you're in class. This is a regular lecture class. So you don't need to shift your energy in any different way, except open up your heart, open up your mind, and be mindful of that we are a bigger space with more people. And so conversation, sidebars, all that kind of stuff need to be at a limit. But I want you to be in your same learner mode that you be when you're in my class with me, or you're in Mina's class, or you're in Natasha's class with me. I'm looking for your teachers. Don't see your teachers as yet. All right, wonderful. And I'm going to say something before we even do the land acknowledgement. When we have these golden opportunities, I call them golden opportunities. As an educator, not as a TC, not as a teacher candidate alone, as an educator, I want you to seize those moments. I have been interviewed quite a bit. I've been, if you follow me on social media, I kind of been all around the place, right? People love it. I live my best life. I've worked hard for that. And people ask me, what makes you do so much, know so much, whatever. And I say, because I'm a constant learner. I am always disappointed when I see persons who are teachers are not open to learning. You cannot be that excellent teacher that you're supposed to be if you are not always taking in. Because remember, we give out a lot. We give out a lot. So I want you to position yourself always mentally to take in so much, because you're going to have to give out so much. So even when you notice I'm going to watch your presentation in my class, notice how I watch your presentation. Like I am the student. Yes, I am, because I want to learn from my students as well. So thank you so much. We're going to start, because this is a gathering of us, and we want to start thinking also the 29th, this Friday, is going to be our Truth and Reconciliation Day, when we're honoring and recognizing and reflecting and positioning ourselves. And we want to take a minute to just engage in this land acknowledgement. It's ours, we use it, but it's not for just a recital, it's for us to constantly reflect. And I have to take another minute to say this. I was in Ottawa last weekend, and I think I shared it maybe with Mari. I have done a lot of land acknowledgements. And I've been a lot of places where Indigenous persons are speaking after the land acknowledgement and invited us to the space. And I had a very, very sobering moment last week, Saturday morning in Ottawa. I went to the Enchante conference about 2SLGBTQIA. So no, it's not just happening on the news, one space. There are people who are mobilizing, and there were a lot of teachers present as well who paid their own way to go to a conference like that. And an Indigenous woman, if you look at my social media, I have a video with it, an Indigenous woman, started the session, and she didn't do the land acknowledgement, because that's not what you ask Indigenous people to do. And she invited us to join her in a song. That was, for me, Leslie, I don't know why I call your name, one of the most powerful moments ever. She got up to sing. I could feel my energy shifting. She got up to sing one of her songs to welcome ancestors in the space. And when she finished singing, she came forward the front of the stage and she said, I want to invite you all to sing this song. She said, it is an invitation from me. My whole emotion shifted. I was the host. I could look at people's faces and see the level of emotional shift. It was beautiful. I wish I could bottle it. I wish I could bottle it and give it away for free, not sell it, because we like to sell everything. I wish I could bottle it and give it away for free. The moment we realized that we were allowed to share spaces and do things because we were invited, not because we appropriated something. And these are the kind of stands and information and heart work that we want us to do as educators. I want you to be amazing. That is my dream, that the students I teach, when they leave here, they are supercalifragilisticexpialidocious teachers. And I get every week or every month, I get an email from one of my past MT students who say to me, hey, Dr. Campbell, I'm teaching at this school. And I remember when you say this, and I'm doing the most. And I was like, you better do the most. So thank you. We wish to acknowledge this land on which the University of Toronto operates. For thousands of years, it has been the traditional land of the Huron-Wendat, the Seneca and the Mississaugas of the Credit. Today, this meeting place is still the home to many Indigenous people across Turtle Island, and we are grateful to have the opportunity to work here. What we're going to do this morning, I'm going to invite our program chair, Leslie, to speak. Leslie's going to bring greetings, just say hello to you all, and say something as a teacher to a teacher. That's what we do this morning. And then Leslie will be followed by Tara, who is coming online. And Tara, I'm sending you all kinds of love. Otherwise, from this workshop, I'm sending you all kinds of love. Lisa and I was talking about you this morning. It feels good to talk about people in their absence, and it comes from a place of just honoring and respecting. And thank you for the work you have done in this area. And Tara, one of our professors, you wish you could be in our course. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. If her name comes up on an elective, you better grab one of that. Okay, and she's going to share with you the work that she's been doing. But Tara, I also have your article I'm going to be sharing with the class as well. So everybody here will get the article, that one of your articles that I have, and also the link to the plays. So we have that ready to go. So Leslie, over to you first, and then followed by Tara.
So I'm just wondering if we could go on a journey together for a little bit. If you could close your eyes or lower your gaze as you feel comfortable. And think of your best moment in school or in a community organization. Where did you feel safe? In what classrooms or spaces did you shine? Breathe that in for a moment. What was the source that fanned your energy? Who fanned who you have become? Did you have teachers or significant adults in your life who saw you, accepted you, and affirmed you? Who listened without judgment? Who listened with empathy? How did you find safety, security, trust, and the support that you needed? Who helped you build your sense of belonging, a sense of competence, a sense of autonomy and agency to help you along your way? What was it about those experiences, about your school, about those adults, about those teachers that made you feel safe, made you feel like you belonged, that you could bring your full self into the school, that you mattered, and that you made a difference? Can you identify exactly what it was that made the difference to you? And how does that relate to your positionality, your identity, your home? You can open your eyes now. I just want to tell just a really short story about a project that I'm involved in called the Inclusive Schools Project. And I've gone into a number of schools with big chart paper and markers and crayons and paints, you know me. And we draw a map of the school. And we ask students to draw, to color where they feel safe and where they feel unsafe in their schools. Where do they belong? And belonging means you can bring your full self there, your authentic self. Now, what is that for a teenager? That's a searching thing, but they can bring themselves there. And which hallway, which table in the cafeteria, which bathroom is unsafe? I think this is one of the most important sets of data that we can have as teachers. And I hope that as you go out into your practicum, into your schools that you'll teach in or your community organizations, you can think about the difference that an affirming, caring, loving, unconditional love that you will bring to those students. Because every little moment, just a look, let alone a conversation, let alone a year of support, can make all the difference for each and every child.
Tara, over to you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm going to share my screen. Andrew, can you see the LGBTQ families speak out website on top of? Yes, great. Thank you so much. Good morning, everybody. I'm Tara Goldstein, and I'm one of the folks who works at OISE and in the Department of Curriculum Teaching and Learning. I just came back from a 3-year gig as VP of New College, and I'm so excited to come back. I came back to one of the most difficult times in my 30-year career. I came back to protests and counter-protests around the teaching of gender, sexuality, and schooling, something I've been doing for 30 years here at OISE. I went to the counter-protest with my colleagues Andrew Campbell and Mari McKenney Edwards, and it really helped to be there in community, to hug each other, and to hold the signs that the OSSTF brought for us to share. There was this amazing moment. There must have been several hundred of us in Queen's Park in the counter-protest space. And there was another group that had met at the 519, which is an important community hub here in Toronto. And they started to walk to Queen's Park. We had been there for about 45 minutes or an hour. And all of a sudden, we see several hundred more folks walking towards us. They see us. We see them. We start yelling and screaming and waving signs. They come too. Parents, kids, teachers, all of us together to create that beautiful moment where we could say to everybody, we value the kind of space that Leslie Stewart Rose, my wonderful colleague Leslie, has been talking about. I wanted to use my welcoming remarks to let you know at OISE, we've been teaching gender, sexuality, and schooling for 3 decades. And we have some amazing projects. Leslie told you about hers. Andrew is going to tell you lots about theirs. This one is called LGBTQ Families Speak Out. And I'm thrilled to say that my research manager on this team, Pam Baer, when Pam Baer was still a graduate student, is now with you. Pam is in the audience. Pam, if you want to just wave to folks, I know your students know who you are. Pam was the research manager on this project. It was a 6-year project. We recently closed it up, but I want to show you about the resources that we have available to you at a click of a button. So many people tell us that one of the things that hold them back from teaching gender sexuality in school is they worry what the parents think. And goodness knows, with those protests out there, you have every reason to worry. But often what we forget is that there are many LGBTQ families in schools. There are many families who do not identify as LGBTQ, but have loved queer and trans uncles, aunts, cousins, brothers, sisters in their family. And when you put all of those families together, the allied families, the families who love folks who identify as queer and trans, with the LGBTQ families, there are a lot of people in schools who really want you to do work around gender and sexuality at school. So I'm going to show you the videos that we have. You can find them by area, and these are some of the areas that we went to, and you can find them by themes. We have videos on activism, advice for teachers, allyship, all the way down to the politics of outness, pride, race, religion, very interesting one, school culture and teacher education. We had 37 families and over 300 small video clips of families talking to educators, talking to teachers, telling them what it is that they need for their families to fit in, to feel welcomed, to feel like they belong in the way that Leslie was telling us. Lots of early years, sorry, let me get back to the themes. Lots of early years and elementary school, lots of gender identity and expression. And because you have lots of work today, I'm just going to show you the publications. Our team put together 2 books. One, for those of you who teach English and arts, is a book called Our Children Are Your Students. This takes the data, the information, the stories, the narrative, the dreams, the wishes of the families, and put them into a verbatim theater play that we've done some analysis. There's music, there's some stunning drawings by other members of the team, Benjamin Lee Hicks, and music by Cale Reed, who is now a prof doing child and youth studies at York. My team has done brilliantly well. Pam is with you. Benjamin Lee Hicks has gone back to teaching in elementary school because they believed after the PhD that was the best place for them. And they're starting off the school year just the way that you are. The second book, I think, is a particularly great one for folks who are just starting out. We talked a lot about what the parents really want you to know. I put this data, these stories, these narratives into a book called Letters to Teachers. And I write a letter called Dear Teacher, and we summarize in small 3 or 4 page letters the things that parents want and places and things to think about when you start to think about what would it take to respond to these requests. Because it's such a hard week for all of us, I still have probably about 20 copies of both books. If you are around at OISE today, I'm going to be in my office between 12 and 3. Please come by, and I will give you these books for free. I don't want them sitting in my office. I want them out into the hands of people who can really use them. I am on the 10th floor, 10160. I'll be there at 12, and I'll be in meetings, but you can come by, say hi, and pick up whatever books I have left. I want them in your hands. Thank you so much. Have a great session.
Thank you so much. Can we put Tara back on the screen? Tara, thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And PJ131, PJ151, my people, I hope you realize that there are 2 books that you can use for your assignments. So I don't need the Dear DR.ABC, can I think of it? Oh, well, I'm going to reply and say, well, what about one of Tara's books? Hint, hint, okay? So this is the class. We're learning, we are growing. And thank you so much, Tara, for the work that you have done. Thank you. I see you, Professor Pam Bear at the front, and see you, the work you have done. Pam is right here, Tara, with us, with our group as well. And this is it. This is it. What are we here for? I said to my students, why are you in this course? You are preparing to teach everybody's children. You're preparing to teach all children. And just remember, what we just shared with you, which you're going to hear for the rest of this morning, is toolkits, things to add to your toolkit. I have the privilege, maybe more than anybody else in this room, to have been in so many school boards. I think I'm at 13 school boards by now. We have done either keynote or workshop. The most common question I get from school teachers, Dr. ABC, can you send us? Can you give us? Can you provide us? Toolkit, 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 toolkit. Okay? And these are the ideas you need. How to speak, how to have courageous conversation in the early years. When I went to Peel last year to do my talk with grade 1 to grade 3, the conversation was different from grades 4 to grade 6. The conversation was different from grade 9 to grade 12. The conversation was different when I went to Humber. The conversation was different when I went to Western University. And the topic was the same. Flourishing, which you are going to hear today in all our identities. But as a teacher, you need the skills. We call it scope and sequence. Fundamental people, are you here? I guess that's what they use still. I don't know. We've called it scope and sequence. In what proportion will you share? With what vocabulary will you use? And in what levels? And that is a skill that teachers have and teachers need to acquire. So knowing the content is one thing. Delivering it, that's what we get paid for, to deliver the content. How do you talk to kindergarten kids about you are special, just as you are? And how do you have that conversation in grade 9 when the bullying and the teasing and the need to belong is important? When the tears are about who posted something last night about somebody, how do you have those conversations? And so for me, I am very humbled with my gift, and I call my teaching a gift. because I know how to do that, and you will continue to learn how to do that. So thank you for that. Thank you, Tara. Thank you so much. We can go back to my original screen, Alex. We're going to bring up Mari at this time. Mari is going to share with us 3 to 4 minutes and talk about all the ideas and stuff and space that she has created within OISE, within the MT program, where you can go for a while. I was at your office door the other day, seeing a student doing his homework. And I said, you discovered this spot? He said, Dr. Campbell, I love it. I said, it is for you. Mari made it for you.
Lisa designed it. Lisa did that. Okay, I'm way down here. Y'all, I'm way down here. I am, can you even see me?
Yeah.
For those online, I don't know if they can even
can
see
see
me.
you.
I am 5'3". I'm average height, damn it. Yeah, my people, you see me, okay. Victor Singh, Lucy Silvestri, Judy Silver, Debbie Halbert. In answer to your question, I have to go up my tippy toes. Leslie, those were some of the teachers who saw me. And I want to speak their name here. I'm wearing a t-shirt today. Okay, hold on. Modeling moment. Those who can't see, it is a University of Toronto t-shirt, and it has the trans flag on it. And I wore it because it's maybe also not what some people expected when it happened a couple of years back. It comes from kinesiology and physical education and many different things out of a moment of wanting to show solidarity, and yet another moment like this many years ago. And I grabbed it when I got ready this morning because I think what I just kind of wanted to feel was the reminder that we're not on our own, right? We do this in community. I'm not a classroom teacher. My professional designation is social work. So the folks who serve breakfast in the schools where you work in the morning, those are the kind of programs that I come out of. The after school programs that kiddos go to after school, and some of the teenagers do their hours in, maybe some of you worked in. Those are some of the places where my work happens, in the basketball field, down the street, at the park, right? And I wanted to say to you, and I wanted to just be reminded when I came up here today, was that we're not doing this on our own. Some of the folks graduating last year, that was one of the things they shared, an anxiety about that. So I want to say you're not on your own. And I want to invite you to bring your community with you and find your people here. Find the people who you don't have to explain. They can just look at you and get it. But also find the people who will work through things with you when you make mistakes. Because guess what? We're going to make a boatload of mistakes. This isn't about perfection. Part of the privilege of my work is creating spaces where we might be able to develop some of those relationships. On your student portal, you'll hear me, and some of you have seen me walking around with my laptop. On your student portal, you can go into your email and search student portal, and there is a whole bunch of pages that I invite you to be aware of. They might come up on screen. We'll see. We're trying. Yes, okay. On your student portal, there's a number of places where you can go to be in community. Under general information, and then, we're doing student life, and then all the way at the bottom, there is a page for my team. I come to you, not just me, I am accompanied in this work by my colleagues, Bridget and Alec, and we're gonna be doing all kinds of things. If you scroll down, you'll find different resources. There's a little remote tour, by the way, of the campus. There's events that we go to together every week. There's different things that we can do together, meet at the library and just go places. Sometimes there's online events that we can go to and have a conversation after on Zoom. You are invited to be in community and to continue your experience outside of the classroom. And maybe in these places you will find some of those folks to journey with. And then also, similarly under general information, thanks Alex, all the way on the right, you'll see community resource pages. These are all coming out of folks who have sat in the seats you are right now. These are ideas that have come forth by other student leaders, and also projects that are ways of enacting reports. We've had people like Dr. Lee Ayrton, who's come and done an assessment of the department and given us recommendations about ways that we can be more gender welcoming. And these are part of our ways of enacting some of the suggestions in conversation with student leaders. So for those of you who are going to be student leaders, or those of you who just want to be involved, one of the privileges of this space is that you all come with experience. You come with ideas and knowledge. You've done things already. If you choose to share some of those things with us, I'd love it if you wanted to be involved with some of this work. There's all kinds of pages, including one for 2SLGBTQ folks in our community. Hi, we're so glad you're here. If you want to find some resources and community, there's some information to do that, okay? There's some particular projects that we're going to be working on. For example, a quick tips page for faculty here, but also folks like you can bring into your classrooms about how to create gender welcoming environments. If you'd like to be a part of that, at the very bottom of the page, there's also ways to get a hold of me. It says CTL staff contact, that would be me. So my email's there and you can book an appointment with me directly. So that's all I'll say for today. Thanks for the space, and I'm glad that you're here in community with us.
Can you see my face? Who knows? Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Hello to those online. Hi, Tara. I guess I'm speaking to here. My name is Dr. Key Alexander. I'm an assistant professor in gender, sexuality, and trans studies and curriculum and pedagogy. It's such a mouthful, but I'm very grateful to be here with you all today. I'm just going to quickly tell you about a few classes that I offer. And so my first class is I teach a research methods class called Theories, Methods, and Methodologies for Queer and Trans Justice. And so that's a course that's designed, if you're interested in doing research that's kind of beyond the kind of studying LGBTQ people and more thinking about how to mobilize queer and trans ways of knowing in the work that you do. So that's my one course. I usually offer that in the fall. And then in the winter, I offer gender equity in the classroom, which is basically trans studies and education. So if you're thinking about wanting to specifically think about gender identity, trans issues, what that looks like in the classroom, and also classroom is, let's say, a loose definition of classroom. So I am of the belief that classrooms show up everywhere we are. Any time we have collective learning in public space, that's a classroom. So we'll also be thinking about what that looks like outside of formal school context, and as well as within community education. My specialty is thinking about community education and political education. So those are two of the classes that I offer. If you're interested in any of those, feel free to reach out. I guess the other thing I'll share is before I became an academic, I mostly worked with teachers and youth workers, social workers, about how to work better with queer and trans youth. And the thing that I always make people do when I do training sessions is to have them kind of think about their own positionality, your own gender, your own sexual orientation. And oftentimes that makes people really uncomfortable. And they're like, I'm here to learn about the kids. But the reality is that if you are not self-reflective about your own identity, you are going to police young people based on the things that you hold about your own assumptions about your own identities, right? So if you're looking to build classroom spaces that are not carceral, right? Not thinking about how to punish people as a way to respond to any type of social problem that happens in your classroom, you have to also think about what are your hangups around gender and sexuality. What are the things that you're uncomfortable with? Because most of the time it's, I think people have good intentions, but when you have your own discomfort with the topic, that's going to show up and young people can feel that. And so I think it's important for all educators to be self-reflective in that way. Yeah, that's all I got. Pretty quick and simple. But if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. And I look forward to the work that you're going to continue to do.
Hi, my name is Nicole Lunenberg, and I'm a science teacher here at St. Augustine Secondary School in the Peel District School Board, and I'm queer. I have a wife and I have a daughter, both of whom I love very much and who always make me proud. And I'm doing this video because there are a lot of times when, even as adults, we get the message that to be accepted is to remain silent and remain invisible, and that there's something wrong about wanting to be open and proud about who we are, and that's not true. We're not only doing this for myself, but also because I know what it's like to be a young person without a lot of role models in this way. And even just to make it okay to be out and be who you are. But I think we're going to need to try and find a way to just love ourselves and be who we are. When I was coming out, I was 21. My parents had moved to Chicago, and that's probably one of the reasons why I felt comfortable coming out, is because I didn't really expect it to go well. My mom was fairly religious, and she's just from a country that being queer is actually a criminal offense. So growing up, I heard a lot of things that were against people like me, and that made it really difficult. So when I came out, I wasn't sure if that would be it, if that would be the end of my relationship with my parents or not. Thankfully, though, my parents love me, and they welcome my wife into the family, and my mom even referred to her as daughter a couple of days ago at Thanksgiving. And it really is that kind of reminder that, things are just a little bit different when you just learn to embrace yourself. No matter what, you can make it through whatever happens. I was going to think back to when I first realized that I was a little bit different than other people. I could think back to grade 3 when I had my first crush on a girl, and we used to always role play at lunch, and I would be the knight and she would be the princess. I didn't really have anything to name it at the time, and so it wasn't until I had a queer friend in high school that I started to actually realize what it was, who I was, and that made a big difference. For me, coming out was important because I just was starting to get tired of holding part of myself back from everyone, and getting really tired about just feeling like I needed to feel bad about who I was, and I was ready to move on. I was ready to really start to like who I was a lot more. And so coming out was an essential part of that, and it's not something that, it's a struggle still. It's not always easy to use the word partner or wife instead of just vaguely referring to my significant other as they. So it's still a work in progress, but it's something that I'm getting a little bit better with in time, and hopefully it'll be a lot easier for everyone else who comes after me because of that. Just want to wish everybody a happy National Coming Out Day.
This book, written by myself and Professor Larry Schwartz, many of you will have him, Larry, in your class, as your teacher, Stop the Hate for Goodness Sake. And it has gotten quite a bit, a lot of traction. I have gotten so much, communication from the publishers. Was like, Dr. Campbell, the book is like a lot of schools. I've been to schools where they have got boxes and boxes, because I'm going to tell you why. It's a treasure chest for teachers. We have a whole bunch of resources, lesson plans, ideas, conversation starters, reproducibles. Like, this is what we're talking about, building your toolkit. Okay? So I want you to understand that. I put that slide there because I want you to understand where the work is happening. Professor Tara talked about teaching gender for 30 years, 3 decades. It's not a new conversation. You listen on TV, it sounds like a monster is coming yesterday to do something. We have been having these conversations because we've existed. Okay? And so I want you to understand these students will be in your classroom. So let me get into this as we talk about. So I'm going to read an excerpt from this book, and then we'll continue our conversation. Who is he? He gets up to get ready for school, but is fearful to go today. He knows today, like all the other days, he will have to exert so much energy to appear normal and to be accepted by the other boys. He has to play his role, and for that 1 minute give away, and not for 1 minute give away what he's thinking or feeling inside. School can be a dangerous place for a boy who is so different, and he knows this too well. Who is he? He knows he has to put on the same uniform as the other boys, but he knows deep down he's not like the other boys. He's different. Not the special kind of admired different, just different. A different that is hated. The kind of different that has become a burden. The kind of different he wished he could give back. Why was he selected to be different? In a school of more than 2,500 boys who wore the same uniform, attended the same classes, ate in the same cafeteria, attended the same religious assemblies, and taught by the same teachers, he was selected to be different. He questions God. He questions himself. Since there's no one else he can ask those questions, he wants answers, but he's scared for the answers themselves. The questions make him sad. They make him angry. Who is responsible for making him so different? Who is he? He's that boy who must prepare himself mentally and emotionally if he will be going to the canteen or playground today. He must be ready to walk like a man, deepen his voice, and be careful that he does not bend his wrists. He is that boy who must navigate the school halls to survive. He must not be in the bathroom when it is crowded. He is that boy who is fearful of bathing after gym, since the male bathroom is no place for faggots, a sissy, and sure not a battyman. So once again, he brings a letter to the teacher, a forged one, asking to be excused from physical education class. Who is he? He's that boy who is excluded from so many activities. He made that choice. I want to repeat that. He made that choice. It is better for him to stay away and stay out of trouble. He's obvious. He's noticed. Everything about him becomes the target of ridicule. His walk, his voice, his love, and passion for things that the regular boys do not engage in. He wished he was older. He could have understood the meaning of those words he hears being used by his teachers, the school guidance counselor, and the principal. Words like tolerance, acceptance, difference, otherness, inclusion, and self-esteem. He knows they are hypocrites, but he dares not say that. He knows his place, and he keeps in his place. A school, I'm going to read this line carefully. A school is a dangerous place for a boy like him. A school is a dangerous place for a boy like him, and he knows it. Who is he? That's Andrew Campbell, DR.ABC. I was at the pushback on last week, Wednesday, sorry. And I was videoing the entire event happening in the park, at Queen's Park. I was videoing all the conversations and the pushback and the demonstration. And I was just really happy to be in space. And I took a picture with Mari, took a picture with Tara, and we were pushing back. And this is how you plan it. Sometimes, I know some of you students will say, and I want to listen to me carefully. Oh, we wish we could get a trigger warning. And I wish we could give you a trigger warning for every lecture we give to you. But I'm going to be very frank with you because that's the kind of person I am. Trigger warnings are not given on the playgrounds. I want to repeat that because I've seen students here challenge professors that, oh, well, you should have. Great, we could have, we should have. It was timely. But when you go into real schools and the real bell rings, we don't have trigger warnings. A parent says certain things to you in the car park, like I've done to me. We don't get a trigger warning. Dear Mr. Campbell, these two parents are going to say something nasty when you pass by. This is how I teach. This is how I lecture. This is what I give you the reality, because I don't do fake and pretend school. I do real school. I was telling someone that I was teaching at Rose Avenue. I tell you the school, Rose Avenue in 2013, teaching grade 5. A little boy came in. I just started wearing Q-Tex nail polish about a year now. I like black nail polish. I just love it. I started wearing it over a year now. But 2013, a little boy came in his class with nail polish on his hands. And that ended up being a horrible day at school for that little boy. Teasing, bullying, parents were calling. It went up to a very high level. And one of the biggest conversation was when the first child said to the child, you should not wear nail polish because you're not a girl. What did the teacher do? When the little boy said to the little girl in the in Alberta, 6-year-old said to another 6-year-old, your skin is dirty. He follows her on the playground. Your skin is dirty. He comes back in class. Your skin is dirty. He's 6. He's 6. He's not there to be racist. He doesn't even know what that means. When that escalated and I got involved, I was called to get involved. And it went up to the superintendent. The main question was, where was the teacher the first time the little boy said to the little girl, your skin is dirty? What was the conversation? So I want you to understand our responsibility when these things happen. So I know there are students, because I've been around long enough. There are teachers who don't want to be involved. I don't want to be involved in the LGBTQ thing. I don't want to be involved in the conversation. I don't want to be involved. Guess what? There's going to be a day when you cannot help but being involved, because you are the teacher on duty in the auditorium. You are the teacher on duty in the cafeteria. You are the teacher on duty in the playground. When you do CTL 7001, and we get into some of the blue pages conversation, you'll understand what this look like when it's in classrooms. So I want you to understand why we are providing you with toolkits, why we want you to sit in a space of reflection. This is not a meeting today where we are solving any problems. Don't walk what you're thinking, well, that was a good joint lecture, and I think I'm kind of LGBTQ, ready now. Ready for what? Ready to have conversations, ready to open your heart, ready to make sure you are that teacher that show a loving, caring stance to all your students. So we're not preparing you to go demonstrate. That's not my job. I'm not preparing you to go out and do. I'm preparing you to make sure you are that amazing teacher, that a child can run home and say, I love my teacher. I got a new teacher today, Mom. She's Miss J. I love Miss J. I've gotten a couple of awards well, and I've said it on video many times. My favorite award is when a child says, I love Mr. Campbell's class. He's the bestest teacher. My favorite word, bestest. It's not a word. I use it all the time. My favorite word, bestest. And that came because a child would say, you are the bestest. Why? Because they feel safety in my class. They feel it's a good space. It's a place where I can go and tell Mr. Campbell something. I could be treated well. And so it's happening around us. It's happening around us. I could give you tons of slides, but I didn't have the time for that, to share with you what's going on around our schools. And how many of us, and this is another place where race intersects with sexuality and sexual orientation, because we have a lot of students who are racialized. I was kind of surprised, Key, and you're going to get that. I know people are looking for you and seeking you out like nothing. Where I was asked more than once by Peel Teachers Organization and another university to talk about the intersection of race and 2SLGBTQ issues, because we have to understand that we experience it different. When I just read that story about OISE, that's my story. I was 10. So when you say to me, what? I was 10. That was when I went to high school. And in Jamaica, where I'm from, I take 2 buses to school. 2 public buses. The idea of thinking everybody gets their parents, drop them off to school and kiss them at their cars and have a good day, darling. That's not the reality. And if that is your reality, be prepared as a teacher to understand others' reality. Public transportation was one of my worst nightmares. I did it every day, twice a day, 2 buses. I used to stay at the bus stop, a 10-year-old, 10. I'm holding back my emotion. At 10, I stood at the bus stop and wait for the children to take all the buses, so they could kind of, the crowd could kind of go off before I went on the bus. And I'm going to tell you something, Mari. It never occurred to me until I started teaching at the university level how late has to be interpreted. I am a rigid, old English learning teacher. What do you mean by that, Dr. Campbell? I'm from Jamaica. We went to Teachers College. My Teachers College is one of the most prestigious colleges in Jamaica. It's called Micah University College. It's very old British colonial system. Some of you talking about writing and penmanship. I could write in Dillian on board. You'd believe my penmanship on the board. I come from that space. Step straight, back to the chair. And so late is foolishness. Why are you late? I come from that space. Why are you late? You shouldn't be late. Late is unacceptable. Until I became a professor and I realized the times when I was late because I was protecting myself. It never occurred to me until I was this old. This may be the second time I'm telling this story. So we have to think about why is that student late again? Why are you getting the letter again that says she's having cramp or they're having cramp, they don't want to be in class? Sometimes it's a lie. And you have to know, you have to have that kind of relationship that Mary and Professor Tara and Professor Alexander talk about, where the child will trust you enough to tell you why. But the easiest way out is just not to be there. And this is how our students disengage. I always push very hard and people wonder why, because I've been around school for 27 Septembers. I know school. And no matter how beautiful a lesson plan you have, how beautiful your class is going to be, when something happens in that class, you have to be prepared how to navigate and pivot. And this is a skill I want you to learn. I have seen beautiful lesson plans on practicum. I'm going to watch you on practicum. I will be there to see some of you teach. I have seen very good lesson plan, but horrible class engagement. Oh, Dr. Campbell, you shouldn't say that. Because lesson plan don't teach anybody. It's teachers who teach. It's your skill that you're supposed to have. It's your energy that you're supposed to have. It's your interaction. It's your passion. It's the way you navigate the class. It's the way you talk. I'm going to share something very personal with you again. I was doing this, I teach online a lot. If you ever be on an online course with me, you notice my office, privileged to have a home office, and it's very nice at the back. People like my backdrop. And there's a frame picture there, like a butterfly glass case, like it's glass with back tags. I got that gift from a teacher who made it for me, the art teacher at the school, TDSB, Eglinton and Kiel area. And she made that for me. I did 4 months there as a LTO, 4 months. And for that 4 months, I poured into those kids so much. But I walk into a school that I've never believed existed in TDSB. I want you to listen to me carefully, because a lot of you like the magic school and the standard school. So I came from a school that when you open I was at a school, when you open the teacher cupboard, you think you're in Walmart. Everything is there. Everything. Those kids in that TDSB school, they had laptops. They had a lab that we had access to. They had Chromebooks individual, and we had an iPad. We had an iPad cart. I went to this school 4 months afterwards. And this school I walked in, and there was 26 tables and chairs. There was an empty cupboard. There was a bookshelf with about 86, I remember, because I counted it, torn up books. And I wish I could just throw in the garbage because they were like ridiculous. And nothing else. Nothing else. Nothing else. I've told a story online, so if you go on my YouTube, I'm sure you could find it. I left that school and I went to the dollar store and I spent $240-something of my own money. And I went back to the school the next morning at about 6:30 to make sure those children had their first day of school. I missed out the most important part of the story. It was an LTO that I started the first day of school, because the teacher who got the LTO came to school and said she couldn't do that. And then they called me emergency. It was the first time since I was teaching, I never had an LTO for September. Didn't realize that was a reason why I needed to be at that school. And I gave myself for 4 months. Here's a story. When I was leaving, the teacher gave me a gift, surprised me with a gift, a glass case. And in it, she had back tags of all the kids. And they drew a picture of Mr. Campbell and write something. When I opened it, I cried in the car nonstop. Every single word I used for those students, they put it, grade 1, they put it on the back tags. Dear Mr. Campbell, you are beautiful. You are fabulous. I like your shoes. I like your hair. I like your smile. I love you, Mr. Campbell. I love you, Mr. Campbell. I love you, Mr. Campbell. You are fabulous. You are beautiful. And I started to cry because this was the language I used to these kids. When I was ready to finish my LTO, the parents came to the school to wonder why am I leaving, ready to demonstrate. I said, no, my time is up. I'm going to another school to live my best life. They was like, oh, we didn't understand that. I said, yeah, we're good. New teacher coming, she's going to be amazing just like me. So I want you to understand why we need you in the classroom. We need you to be amazing. We need you to understand what's going on. We need you to understand that this is not new. We need to understand that there are going to be immigrant kids in your classes that are coming from countries like mine, that homosexuality is illegal. They hear very nasty words about who they are. At 10. So that's why I'm the kind of person I am. And these kind of things, they build you. They make you either stronger or weaker. I'm happy it made me stronger. That's why I'm not easily intimidated. I tell people, why yeah, I'm the wrong person. Just ignore me. I'm coming from spaces where you wouldn't even exist for a day. And I did well. But I shouldn't have to push and fight and resist. I don't sell resistance, you know. I don't sell resilience. I don't sell Black students have to be resilient and LGBTQ students have to be resilient. I sell teachers like myself, you and I need to prepare school so students can feel a sense of belonging. That's what I sell. I don't sell resilience. And people ask me about resilience. I said, yeah, I have been resilient, but we know what I wanted? I wanted a classroom where the teacher saw me. I wanted a teacher to defend me. At 10, I wanted a teacher to speak up for me. And I'm going to tell you why I said this. Because today, some of those teachers that I knew, today they're out the closet. But I also understood that they even couldn't speak up for me because their lives are in danger as well as a teacher. So I want you to think about the ways in which you can use your power, your access, and your privilege to make sure school is a place of belonging for all our students. And I just want to be very careful in saying this. This is just one topic we're doing. This is just one issue. You will hear conversations when you're in school about Friday, Orange T-shirt day, that you will be like, wow, my school is amazing. We are doing Orange T-shirt so well. And then you be at another school and you go, what the hell? You literally go for your coffee in the staff room and you overhear two teachers literally saying something about Orange T-shirt day that you believe, what did they just say? Yeah. You will hear schools where you go to where they talk about kids who are hijab wearing Muslim students, and you realize that that school is so mature in how they prepare for those students. And you go to another school and you go, oh, okay. Show example. One school I was at, LTO for the substitute teacher. It's fasting. It's fasting. And I said to the teacher, you know what would be nice? Maybe because the kids are fasting and we know which kids are fasting, we shouldn't ask them to do 6 laps around the gym today. Curriculum, pedagogy. So when you ask me what this anti-discrimination course is about, it is to teach you how to really teach with consideration. If your students are fasting because of their religion, maybe today is not the day for 7 laps around the gym because they could fall out. Then I went to another school down the road, and I am the substitute. I never use a bad school name, but I use a good school name. I went to Island Heights in Scarborough. I am the substitute teacher. I'm in the library. I like to they know me enough because I've been going there for a while, that when I come to substitute, I like to be alone during my lunchtime. I watch YouTube video, listen to my Beyonce, listen to my Rihanna, and live my best life. I don't want to be engaged. I want to be by myself because I'm tired, because I've been teaching. My whole body teaches, you get me, right? When I teach at First Fire, my whole body teaches. And so I'm in this class and they come to me, Mr. Campbell, I know you always eat your lunch in the library and you play your music, but you can't use it today. I go, what the can't use is going on? And they said, The kids who are fasting, we're using the library as a space for any child who is on fasting that wants to come to the library, can be here and just relax and be by themselves. And I was like, what? So I said, who came up with this idea? Watch me carefully. It's a school with a 90% white staff. There are no hijab wearing Muslim teacher on staff. So when I say allyship, I'm not talking about Humpty Dumpty, I'm talking about the real thing. The teachers come together and they decide we are going to use our lunchtime, 1 or 2 persons per week per day, to just go in the library and just be there to monitor and to be there in a space to provide for the students who are fasting. There is no such policy in the school book. Teachers with their allyship, knowing who their students are, created that space. Think about the space you want to create. Lisa, can I have my time? What time is it? 10:02. Oh, I have time. Think about what will I do? What will you do? And I'm going to tell you something. What you are going to do in your class is going to be different from what you're going to do in your class. It's going to be different. Maybe you're that good storyteller and you know about drag story time. You may want to dress up in your own class and read stories. Another person, you may good on writing plays. I had a student last year. He was amazing at playwright. He was in my anti-discrimination. He wrote a play for his assignment. It was so good. And I said to him, I hope when you go out in the school, you get to launch this play. And he said, that's exactly what I'm going to do, DR.ABC. So what tool will you use? So I want to share something with you. In 2020, in the middle of pandemic, the middle of George Floyd, the middle of everything, you know what was discovered? Get ready for this. It was discovered that there was some increase in LGBTQ violence at home. It's like, so when I sat here in the conversation, no, we're in pandemic, we're fearful for our lives, we think we're, what's going to happen to us. Then we hear George Floyd and it's a whole something going on. And then I'm getting this information. And I said, what's going on with 2SLGBTQ students at home? Well, guess what? They're spending all their times at home. The sneaking out to live their best life is done. You got it? The freedom from that horrible family they may be a part of, and I say this without apology, or that horrible dad, or that big brother, or that neighbor, or whatever. They don't have that freedom anymore. They're home 24/7. And the number of students who would rather be homeless outside in the dangers of pandemic than be home. We saw the data. There's research out there, you could Google it. So in the middle of that, this was Idaho, May 17th. This was their theme, breaking the silence. This is 2020 theme of Idaho, breaking the silence. And then in 2021, this was a theme, together resisting, supporting, and healing. How do we help our students to break the silence? How do we do it for our students? And so the first, I want to leave 3 words with you. The first word is affirmation. And when I say I had notes to talk about, I'm gone without my notes. That's great. That means I'm a good teacher. Come on, Teacher Campbell. Affirmation. How do you, first of all, affirm yourself? So all of you students here who identify as 2SLGBTQIA+, I want you to understand the power you need to affirm yourself. You have to walk into that. You have to pour into yourself. When people ask me about the work that I do, and some people look at my position and look at my stance, I said to people who may be a little bit, my energy a little bit strong for them, I said to them, do you really, really believe I could do the work that I do and not be sure of who I am? Think about that. Think about the work that I do. I have to show up strong. And I don't show up strong in a pretend way, because when I'm not strong, I will tell you. When I'm not strong, I call for backup. I call for help. I cry. What I didn't share, which I was waiting to share, was while, and Mari know nothing about this, after I finished hugging Mari, finished hugging Tara, you know that I was telling a story and it wasn't finished. I'm sure some people picked up the story, wasn't finished. I'm coming back to the ending now on purpose. When I finished hug and take the picture with Tara and Mari, and I started hearing the chant about school and school and school, my mind flashed back to 10-year-old Andrew. And I started to cry. So Mari wasn't there when that happened. I walked across the street. I had to cross the street out of the crowd, and I ended up crying. I cried for my 10-year-old self. And I know for a fact that I am good today, but I know many persons who are not good. I know young men in Jamaica at 16 who was beaten. 16. I know students today who are fear for their lives. Some of us, we have the freedom. When I leave my house in Ajax, I dress up to go to the club. I do the most. I do the most. But every time I'm driving, especially by myself, I am reminded and humbled that years ago, if I was going to a gay party in Jamaica, I had to dress up like I look decent, like regular. I don't like the word regular. I do not like regular. I had to dress up regular to leave my house. So at 11 p.m., I would put on my jeans and my t-shirt and my sneakers. That's regular. And my friends would pick us up. I would take a taxi and we go to the gay party in the hiding parts of Jamaica Hills. Yes, we have gay parties in Jamaica. Long story to explain to you about that. And we hide into these parties. And when we reach the party in the taxi, we get outside the taxi and we go to the street corner somewhere over there and we would change our clothes into the club clothes because we're going to do the most now. Take off our jeans, take off our t-shirt, put the tight shorts we want to put on. We're young, we're cute. I want to see a boy. And then when we are getting back home after we are done having our great time, we change again because about 4 a.m. this time. And police like to stop cars coming off the hill because they know where we are coming from. And so we go back into our regular clothes to look decent and respectable and regular and acceptable by society. So the next time you go into a gay club and you leave from home and you're doing the most, just remember there are LGBTQ persons all over the world who have to navigate just going for a good time. Navigate just going for a good time. And so it's important affirmation is important. And next thing is important is allyship. I went to a university the other day as the invited academic speaker for St. Francis Xavier University. It was excellent. I want to go back. Excellent. But something I noticed, I went in January and I didn't know that Nova Scotia or Halifax, wherever that place is, they have their Pride in January. So you see, I learned that. So I learned something new. Not everybody celebrate Pride in June. We kind of think that it's so. No, it's not, right? And so I went into the university and everywhere you went, there was a Black history poster. It was beautiful. Like, I'm going to be frank with you, OISE building has not even 5% of that. Oh, Dr. Campbell, you really should have said. OISE building don't even have 5% of that. LGBTQ flags and t-shirt and stuff. Oh, gorgeous around that university. We don't come close. Mari, you have work to do, Mari. I just extended our job description. But I'm going to tell you something. I was so appreciative of the environment, but I also, that's knowing who I am, critical thinking, walking away. I go, wow, how many of these people are genuinely allies? Because we have to realize a lot of persons think allyship is a t-shirt, a Black Lives Matter post on social media, a flag or a button, and you're done. Like Orange T-shirt day, everybody will be in orange on Friday, including me. And after that, you're done. You really don't care about the children. Your T-shirt says, what about the children? Well, When you're done, you really don't care about the children. Missing and murdered Indigenous women. We said search. We said find. We said you are appropriating and you take 10 minutes to argue with me why it's not appropriation. Instead of being humble, cultural humility to say, yes, this is borrowed from an Indigenous community. You want to engage with me, but I don't because I'm busy. I have Netflix to watch or something to do. How are we growing when it comes to allyship? What allyship looks like for you? What it looks like? Because many of us, we are plagued with performative allyship. And we are plagued with convenient allyship. Can I tell you a story? Not everybody you see in a march is there for the march. Oh yeah, there are people who are going to the food store and they see a Black Lives Matter march going and be like, oh my God, Black people marching, let me just join the group. Or you just join the group. Convenient allyship. What we want for you is purposeful allyship, deliberate allyship, intentional allyship. And then, of course, the most important thing is your action. So in their action, they talk about, this was a quote from 2020 from the Ida Art website. We examine the many ways we can and must tell our stories, claim space, establish our voices, and ensure we are heard. We break the silence and tell our truths, our stories. As an educator, my question to you this morning will be, how will you ensure that you tell our stories? How will you ensure that there's space in your classroom for all stories? The picture here is the winners of Canada race, Indigenous two-spirited leaders. I had the privilege of being in a presentation where they both were the speakers. And one of them, which is a medical doctor, tell the stories of how many times they have been asked to get out their room. They want a real doctor. And you know, when I see these things happen, even to myself, I ask, where are the allies? Where are the allies? And one of my favorite famous statements is always, do not miss the opportunity to be an ally. A lot of us, we have had missed opportunities where we could have said something. I am not asking you to go flip off any table like Housewives of New Jersey. That's not what I'm asking you to do. I'm not asking you to slam any door. My students come back from practicum and they say, Dr. Campbell, we heard this in the staff room. What should I do? I said, in your position as a TC, you do not have certain power to do certain things. So here's what you can do. So nobody's sending you out in the school to go just mash up everything and just, no. Think about what tools you can use to make sure our students are included. Think about the ways in which you examine how your student exists. What do you mean to claim space in your classroom? A parent wrote a letter to a kindergarten teacher. She said, dear Miss, like you, Lisa. Dear Miss Lisa, I realize my son has been playing in the kindergarten, playing in the hairdresser play, what you call it in kindergarten? The hairdresser play section. Can you please allow him, do not allow him to play there? The teacher writes back. She said, in my classroom, all my students get to explore their curiosity and interests. I do not allow your child or any other children I have, not to play with whatever they desire. That's it. That's it. But I can tell you there are teachers who would be scared and they go, OMG, I have to make this little boy don't play in the hairdresser parlor in my classes because his parents are going to write the superintendent. Well, you could write the I've been threatened by a superintendent so many times. I've never been into a meeting with a superintendent. Never. Oh, never. Oh, never. Why? Because I know how to navigate school the right way. I know to be effective without being ridiculous. And so writing a letter to that parent like that is absolutely your right, because you don't get to tell students which play area they should go. And I would add to that parent, just remember, if your child becomes a hairdresser, most of the millionaire hairdressers in the world are men. Yeah, they are men. So why are we preventing our students from living their best life and becoming their dream? Why are we not ensuring they're claiming space? I like to use this one for a reason. There's something you learn later on, maybe not in this course, maybe in other courses. You learn the term oppression Olympics. Nothing gets me very, I was going to say pissed off, but I raised my bosses here and I should say pissed off. Right? But nothing really gets me pissed off when I see people like myself who have been oppressed turn around and oppress others. This is a delicate conversation you're going to see in schools about religion and sexuality. You have to remember your job is to care for all your students. All your students. All your students. I've taught in private religious schools. I've taught in private Catholic schools in the Bahamas and private Baptist schools in the Bahamas. That school you believe you're in church. Because I knew what kind of engagement I would be in. I left that school after 1 year because I could not even breathe in that school. I was teacher of the year though. Oh yes, I was teacher of the year. In a school, it's 76 teacher. I had to tell you that because I know what I'm doing. But I wasn't happy at that school. So I left after a year and got a beautiful, better job at another school. Because I have to really be careful how I show up in that school. Very careful what I wear, what I say, what I look like. And so I use this for example, because one of the person on the right, the drag queen on the right, did this on purpose. It was one of the best performances, I think, on RuPaul's Drag Race. You could find it on YouTube about their identity, sexuality, religion, America, immigrant. It was a mix, wearing the hijab, wearing a covering, because they are from that. He's from that space. Can't say he because it's a drag queen. On the next side is Mango Lassie. You can Google them on YouTube. They're in Brampton, they're in Peel area, showing up. So when people tell you that this doesn't exist and this doesn't exist, that's not true. We don't exist because we are afraid of existing. There are LGBTQ people in every single space. In every single space. So I'm closing. I want you to realize that we have to ensure we are heard. It's what we're doing this morning. And tell our truths. Bellux talk about that. And then of course, it's the article I'm going to share with everyone. It's actually on our website, our OISE website. That's Tara there in the picture there. I think that's you, Pam. Pam, I just realized that's you beside Tara. Okay. Okay, Dr. ABC, you just discovered something new. Oh yeah. That's me, right? It's too much going on with myself. I can't, right? Amazing. And I'm going to leave it to you 4 things that I learned from the article that I could have put a million things, but this article was so powerful and I have it right there. So I'm going to scan it and make sure you get a copy of it. And the first one was teacher allyship is critical. And remember to go on whatever floor to get one of those free books. If I were you, I'd be the first in line. You know? Allyship without action is an oxymoron. We just talk about that. It's in our research. It's in our research. We have to show up the ways you need to show up. Take away, move beyond accommodating. This one was powerful for me, Pam. Pam, this was really, really powerful. Number 3, move beyond accommodating to expecting. I sat with this a little bit. I was having some good boiled dumpling yesterday and kidney. And between, anybody like kidney? I love kidney. I love kidney. I was having boiled yam, boiled banana yesterday and kidney. And between my meal I was reading it. And number 3, had me pause on a piece of kidney for a while. Move beyond accommodating to expecting. And as educators, You could put anything there beside Twitter and LGBTQ. Move beyond accommodating immigrant students. Move beyond accommodating whoever. Expecting. They are going to be in your class. Expect them to be in your class. And the last one, normalize LGBTQ lives and families in your curriculum. What does that mean? When we teach social studies, for instance, I think I can come out a little bit. When we teach social studies, for instance, is a thing we do a lot in social studies. We show the nuclear family. I've been doing that for years. We show the nuclear family. We show the mom, the dad, one boy, and a little girl. We show a dog and a cat, the tree with a car with a two garage, the apple tree. Well, always the apple tree that because it's always have a red on it, so I get the front of your apple tree. You know that picture. You and I know that picture. But that's not the only family. So when you're teaching grade 2 and grade 3, you're talking about the family. Remember, that is not the only family, and the children in your class, that is not their family. So when you push back at me and say, well, this is what the curriculum says, well, that's not the only family. So I want you to think about that. And I'm not talking about thinking about in deficit. Single family doesn't mean deficit. There are many people who are choosing to be single parents. Extended families where there's grandma, grandpa, and there's 3 aunties. You need to talk about that because that's their family. So I want you to think about that. And think about, I love this one because the beauty of what support looks like. I love this one, Professor Key, because at this point, the headline in 2019 used the word son, and I loved it. Gabrielle Uden and Dwayne Wade launched line of LGBTQ t-shirt in support for their son. But I want to tell you something. During 2019, when this was written, I went on Instagram. I love social media as well. And if you saw the level of hatred on the articles, it was horrible. Talking about somebody's child, it was horrible. And I said to myself, do people realize what they're doing? Do people realize it's a little boy? Do people realize that? It's horrible. I'm so proud of these parents. My dad knew about my sexuality. I didn't tell him, he knew. He loved me, supported me. If you read my book, I'll tell you what my dad said when he saw that I was literally falling apart, struggling to be a good Christian boy, struggling to love Jesus, struggling to feel a sense of belonging in church, struggling. And that's something you have to understand, especially some of us immigrants who come from these very colonized spaces like Jamaica and places in Africa where all we know is church. Now I make a joke and I said, my first drag show was in church. Because that's the first time you get a mic to recite. We struggle. My mom struggled. My mom loved me. Anybody know about me and my mom and social media? Love me. But she was also a front bench, white gown Christian, which means, I guess in those churches, it means you're closer to Jesus. How dare her having a son like me? And I cried more than once when I realized my mother was hurt as well in church because her son was Brother Campbell. Oh, that's me, Brother Campbell. So we need to think about the ways in which our children show up at school, their stories, their histories, their families. The ones who are accepted that you easily could celebrate, the ones who are scared, and school is their only place to kind of be themselves. I know past student I have right here in the MT program that confided in me and said, Dr. Campbell, I am out in the MT, I'm out at OISE, but I'm not out at home. I want you to hear me. I had a student who said to me, Dr. Campbell, she's gone now. I am out at OISE, but I'm not out at home. So guess what? OISE was a safe place. So when I tell you to behave right, act right, do right, be right, so you can prepare yourself to teach right, it's what I mean. How do we take care of each other? How do we take care of each other? When I teach anti-Black racism and they ask me all the tools, I say to them, well, your guest speaker is Black. How do we navigate that? Because I've been to places as a guest speaker dressed up. Like if you see me in my suit, I'm giving you 6'4" gorgeousness. Black prince. Waiting for my prince. Oh, I had to put that in. I had to put that in. Right? And somebody mistake me for catering. Like, what the catering is going on? You're going to mistake me for catering? Yes, they have. I am the guest speaker. But I have been to other places where as I walk through the door, the lady at the front desk is like, welcome, Dr. Campbell, we're expecting you. And I go, this is the difference when even the people who hire you to speak have put it intentionally to expect you. So I know when I said expect LGBTQ kids, I know what it means to somebody to expect you. And so I leave you with what this looks like when we say flourish. This is the same person. This is a little boy in 2019 who struggled. And if you watch their story, you read their story. And this, I'm going to tell you now, this is old pictures I got, Professor Alexander. Because if you see the new pictures now, I go, wow. Wow. Gorgeous young lady. Gorgeous young lady. And there's a lot of conversation about intersectionality with race. Because people are convinced the hate from the Black community for this little girl, horrible. Religious community. And so, I want you to know that you must be that safe person. My final slide for the day, final slide that you can get to go. I was at a school in the New York region in March. I went to speak in March at the school. And when I walked into the foyer, this was what greeted me. And the teacher in charge of the project, she came and I said to her, she said, every single child in the school, theirs is there. So when I say to you, the ways to navigate, I see you're not here, I feel that not just now, I see you. When I say to you, the tools you have, I didn't say to you, skip school and go march in Queen's Park. If you put that in your notes, take your erase that you erase. That's the campus didn't tell you to do that. You could do that if you want to, but that's not the way, that's not the only way. What skills do you have? What do you bring to your school as a teacher? What talents and treasures and what skills do you have? How can you use that to ensure inclusion in your school? Stay in your comfort zone. Stay in that. I can say, oh, I'm going to stay in the comfort zone. Use your gifts and your talents because you do. So if you are good basketball, you're into sports, But you know that the 2SLGBTQ kids, you know what happens with them in sports. Be intentional about who is on the team. I told this story. One of my sad stories in a school was when I used an Indian little girl. She was from India. She just came to the school and I was teaching dancing and I used her for the lead dancer in a school. And the parents, a bunch of parents wrote a letter to the principal because I used the Indian girl to be the lead dancer and she don't go to ballet like the other kids. What the ballet is going on? The principal is in the office. Because 5 parents in grade 5 is questioning why Mr. Campbell used the Indian girl as the lead in the Christmas production. You're going to get me. The conversation lasted 3 minutes. I said, Mr. Trevor, his name is now retired in his best life. I said, Mr. Trevor, you have to tell us here that Mr. Campbell is in charge. Anybody knows that term, the word in charge? So I'm going to tell us here Mr. Campbell is in charge. And I get to choreograph the dance, and I get to select the dance, the children, the students who are most effective in a certain part. So it happens. This is what the art teacher did. What will you use your skills to do? And look at the pictures. all the identity. They get to draw themselves as how they want. Wow. I was at another school, Rose Avenue, and they were doing a mural. I was at LT at the time at Rose Avenue, I think it was 2011, and they were doing a mural. And they were painting this mural of a garden. I think it's still there at Rose Avenue, down here at Bloor and Sherburne. And they wanted every single student to paint a leaf, and every single teacher. And I will never forget going down there, and she had my name on a list. And she had my name on it. She said, Mr. Campbell, here is the green. You could color your leaf. That thing really struck me. And I said to her, no. I'm just a substitute teacher here. She said, the principal, Mr. David Crichton, I will never forget. She said, the principal says, everybody in the building gets a leaf. Oh, I just felt my emotions. He said, everybody gets a leaf. The janitor, the cafeteria staff, office administrator, everybody came to the foyer and painted a leaf. I will never forget that. It meant so much to me. A leaf, paint a leaf, take me 5 seconds to paint the leaf, a little leaf. But my name was on a list, and she would tick off the persons who came downstairs. Somebody put a list together of everybody in the building, every teacher, every student, every cafeteria worker, every EA, SNA, everybody got a leaf. I leave that with you. I leave that with you. I leave that with you. How are we going to ensure that all our students, every single one of our students,